So, art. I'm not an artist, and I've never been an artist. In fact, over the course of my life, I've drawn so little art, especially of people, that to even find something old I had lying around to show here proved impossible. What very, very limited art abilities I have are basically being able to somewhat decently draw very simple swords, and being able to sketch passable enough spaceship concept art to send to professional artists so they can make it actually look good. It's always been one of those things that seemed completely beyond me. Though I can appreciate good art at least I think so, and I've been fortunate enough to work with several amazing artists on my various creative projects for the better part of a decade now, who've done great work bringing my visions to life. Still, as happy as I am with that, I always kind of wished I could do a little more. About a year ago, probably like many of you, I saw Pewdiepie's first video of his art journey, as well as his subsequent videos in which he became legitimately good at art. It was a pretty inspiring watch, and I'd recommend you check out all those videos. So when I happened upon that first video again recently, thanks to the YouTube algorithm I guess, I thought, you know what, it'd be pretty fun to try out this similar challenge, starting from a far lower point than he did, and see what I can learn in a month. When I made this decision, I set a couple of parameters for myself for the 30-day challenge. Obviously I commit to drawing every day, but I didn't want to let this get out of hand, so I also set a hard limit, well, mostly hard limit, of 10 minutes of drawing per day. The idea was both to see how far I could get by drawing just that much, and also to prevent myself from getting too involved in this, since I can be a bit of a perfectionist. With everything else I need to do, from my writing to making videos for this channel and more, I just couldn't afford to get obsessed trying to teach myself how to draw. So 10 minutes a day it was, for the most part. And for sake of clarity, I didn't count any time watching drawing advice videos or looking up any guides online as part of the 10 minutes per day. But I still tried to limit how much time I spent doing that as well. So I think that's enough stalling. I think we can get to the actual interesting part, how the challenge went, and whether I could get through this without cringing at my efforts too much. As for my supplies, here we are. This is it. Scrap paper liberated from work, and the first mechanical pencil I could find. Nothing fancy, and I don't really plan on getting anything fancier, though I'll talk more about where I'll go from here later on in the video. For now, let's just see how well I could talk about my 30-day challenge without a script or an outline to guide me. So, part of the process, obviously, was deciding what I wanted to learn to draw, both in terms of subject matter and also what style. Probably unsurprising to many of you, I decided to go with cute anime girls. Both because, obviously, this is a Girls and Panther channel first and foremost, and because I've got lots of cute characters of my own in my various light novel and manga projects that are ongoing. So I guess it was a bit of a happy coincidence that both PewDiePie and myself kind of chose to start drawing the same type of stuff. Don't get your hopes up. He started off a lot better than I did, and he got a lot better a lot faster than I did. So, let's move this scrap paper out of the way. So like I said, I had no real experience in this at all, no platform to start from. So I jumped in kind of feet first, trying to draw, a face, which I think wanted to be my main focus. If you can't draw a face, you can't draw a character. It doesn't matter if you can draw a body well, if you can't draw a face well. So I decided to try that first, and it didn't go very well. I also spent a lot of time in the first few days especially trying to learn how to draw straight lines and how to draw circles, because both of those are kind of important for drawing anime faces, at least based on certain style guides and drawing advice type of stuff. And it turns out drawing straight lines and drawing good circles is not easy, and I still haven't figured it out. So as we go on the following days, you see some days I had more time where I got a full good 10 minutes plus in. Some days I got a little bit less than that, but I always tried to do something every day basically. And I hope the camera's picking this up decently. I had to get an awkward angle. I'll show you a little screenshot of where exactly my camera was mounted because it's kind of a silly visual. But anyway, so the first few days I was just trying to focus a little bit on getting that started, and I think the eyes is what I really picked to start on first because eyes are kind of important to faces. And that's most of what I started trying to do the first few days. A little bit of face shape type stuff, going on those basic guides of the sort of grid square face. I don't know what the term is for that. I don't really know what the term is for anything pretty much beyond the obvious. And then as I got forward, I started trying to do a little bit more detailed stuff like hair. Try to do some curvy lines, which ironically are a little bit easier to do for me at least than trying to draw a straight line and circles. Well, I've gotten some decent circles, but most of them are still not very good. And just trying and failing some more. This was a pretty bad day. I got annoyed and drew a little tiny spaceship and a tiny sword because faces were not working out that day. Same deal here. I just drew a spiral out of frustration down here. I tried drawing a spaceship profile, which I think came out halfway decent. I just can't figure out yet how to get the wings to look decent in a sideways profile type of thing. So day 10 is about where I started to get a little bit better. You can see this kind of looks almost passable, at least for a very, very, very beginner person. So I'm trying to figure out hair, because hair is a whole big mess, both in real life, for those of you who have long hair, and also just in trying to draw it. So for me at least, drawing stuff like twin tails or ponytails came out much easier, because I could just draw the same shape line multiple times and just kind of build the hair that way, as opposed to trying to draw in the shape and make it look decent. Because for some reason, hair when it's just like empty white space never looks good to me. It's hard to visualize what it's supposed to look like, because when you look at the colored stuff, it's colored, so there's something tangible there, as opposed to a sketch where it's just white behind the initial lines you draw. So I'm working on hair some more, working on eyes some more, and I still haven't figured out how to get the eyes to be the exact same size in a pair and the exact same positioning. I probably have to start using little rulers or some kind of thing to actually keep that consistent. I really hope this camera is picking this up semi-decently. But this is one of the days where I think I peaked for a while, or I felt I might get stuck peaking here. Like, this is probably the best face. I didn't even bother to finish it and take off the little lines here. This is one of my best ones early on, and I was pretty happy with this one, and I would just hope that it wasn't my best. So, but it was for a few days at least, trying to experiment some more with, doing a full face, doing, adding the neck in, and obviously different hairstyles, because I can't just draw ponytail or twin tail type stuff forever, because that's not very creative. So this day 16, I was just trying to work on hair, looking at obviously a lot of references. I'm not drawing most of this from, just from my mind. Occasionally I do. If there's any day that I remember that I just drew it strictly from, my own internal visualization, I'll mention it, but most of the time I at least had something on the screen to at least glance at. Straight hair is very, very hard. On day 19, I gave up on hair for a bit and just tried to work on eyes again. I kind of like how they come out when I do the shading with the pencil here. And yeah, I think this is like a little bit... Eyes I'm decent. Like I said, I just can't get the sizing to match all the time, most of the time, and the positioning. But otherwise, I'm reasonably happy with how my, very, very simple eyes are coming out so far. Yeah, let's see, getting up to day 20, so that's already 2/3 of the way through, and you see I haven't improved all that much beyond the eyes. Trying to draw straight lines again. It's not working so well. And here I start working on the hair again, trying to actually make some progress finally. And angry eyes, because that day was not going great. And around this time I started figuring out the hair a little bit, looking at a lot more tutorials, and I'll try and link some of them if I can remember which videos I actually watched in the description. I don't know if I've saved them enough to find the right ones again, but if you're interested, I could definitely find a few of them and let you know, or put them in the comments or something. I'm trying to draw some different hairstyles that looks more like almost like a Protoss from StarCraft. I hope I'm not... If I pick it up this way, that's bad. Pick it up this way, then you can see it better, because the camera is at a very awkward angle. And this head proportions are all off for this one. But also, there's also kind of look like spaghetti hair. And so now getting near to the end of the 30-day challenge, I started to finally break through a little bit. Like, this is where it got a little bit better. I think I might use this one for the thumbnail, or maybe day 28 or 29 for the thumbnail, to hide what I do for day 30. So day 28, again, it's it looks a little bit better. I think it actually works better for me. Like, I mean, it makes sense. It's easier to try and draw something big as opposed to something small, because you have more leeway to manage the small detail stuff, as opposed to if you have a tiny face, you don't have a lot of room to work with, especially with a pencil. It's pretty thin, but it's not an ideal, it's not an artist pencil. Let's say that much. To day 29, I was working a little bit. My plan was for day 30, because this hair is mostly traced. I did that after my 10 minutes of drawing here because I wanted to practice something for day 30 to make day 30 a little bit special, considering it is the culmination of the 30-day challenge, and I wanted to show that I actually accomplished something, and I wanted it to be on theme for this channel. So let's get to day 30. So it's still very, very amateur, but anyone who's a regular viewer here could probably tell who this is supposed to be. This is supposed to be Miho from Girls and Panzer. I drew it obviously from reference. Let's see if I can get a better angle on the camera here. If you could see it, the lighting isn't that great in here, so I hope it's somewhat visible. But so I drew that from reference, obviously using the traced hair from the day before as a reference, also because, like I said, beginning or at least a few minutes ago, trying to visualize the hair from a colored image to something I'm just sketching with a pencil, it's hard to see it because of the color adding the tangibility there, whereas having just the lines, even if I don't trace it for the actual thing, which I didn't trace it for the actual thing, having it here, I'm able to just understand how it's supposed to look with just the lines, and then obviously I shaded it in because I like how that looks a lot better, at least for me. And that's day 30. So I actually did make some progress, maybe a little bit more than I actually expected to make. And I think it does go to show that you can improve at this. Like I said, I haven't gotten very far. Like, I don't want to overstate what I've accomplished in the last month at all, but I am reasonably happy with how far I've come, because I don't plan to be a full-time artist or anything like that ever. I'm very happy with the artists I work with on my various projects, and the time it would take to become good enough to do it myself would be non-feasible to try and do at this point in my life. But it would be fun to be able to draw little thank you sketches on cards to send it backwards on Kickstarter or other things like that, or maybe a little tiny maybe comedic page or something to add in as a bonus feature in one of my manga or something. So it'd be nice to have a little bit of skill to be able to add something visual to my own project. And also I could obviously, if I could sketch a decent approximation of what I want for a character to look like, I could then send it to my artist to give him a better starting point to do the actual character design for me, because in the end he'll always be better than I am. So now the question is where I go from here, because as you can see there are more pages behind this. You can kind of see through the paper a little bit because it's cheap printer paper. Obviously I have kept going beyond the 30-day mark. I don't know how far I'll go. We'll see how long I keep this up for. But for now, I am going to keep going with it because I've been enjoying it. 10 minutes a day is not that much time, especially when I'm working. Thankfully, I'm able to work at my job on this because my job mostly involves sitting at a desk where not much happens, thankfully, for most of the time. So it's easy to find 10 minutes to just sit and work on a little drawing project. And so that's really where I'm at. And in terms of supplies, like I said, I'm not planning to really expand. I'm not planning to go into colors anytime soon. I'm not planning to really even get pens to do it with ink. I'm happy with this number 2 pencil I've had for I don't know how many years working on this. But I did actually order myself a proper, larger sketchbook. So I'll have a little bit more of a formalized place to put the art that I'm working on, and a place, and more space to work with, because these pages are kind of tiny. The actual sketchbook will be, where are my hands? Will be a little bit, bigger, so I'll have some more, real estate to work with as I try and, maybe draw full character bodies and not just faces. But yeah, that's it. I just wanted to do a little fun video talking about this, showcasing what I've done, and, to hope that maybe, this little video could have a fraction of the impact that the video that inspired this could have, in terms of getting people who might want to try, doing some art to actually give it a shot. Try it for a month, see if you want to continue, and if you do, then go for it. We don't all need to be professional level to enjoy doing this. It's fun creating. It's fun just seeing something you do come to life. It's one thing. I do love my books and I love writing, and I'm always going to be a writer, but it is different to be able to see something come to life in a visual sense, whether it's drawing, whether it's forging, which I've done a little bit of also, like blacksmithing type stuff, or any kind of, creative visual art. So just a different kind of thing to see it, in front of you as opposed to seeing it in your head. So I'll be continuing this. I don't know for how long. And I hope this video wasn't too rambly. I hope I managed without a script. Like everything once the hand cam began was basically unscripted. And I hope that you found this fun, at least maybe interesting or whatever. And I hope that the art wasn't too cringe, and that I wasn't too cringe. And that'll about do it, I think. We'll see if I have anything else to add that I might do in post production of slapping this into Microsoft Clipchamp and just editing it together. So for me, from my cameraman, Mechagodzilla over here, thank you for watching. Obviously, feel free to check out my light novels and my manga. I'll post links to that below, and those have actually good art because I have a great artist I'm working with who really makes things come to life in the proper way. And he and I will both appreciate any support you can give on that. And yeah, that's it. So I guess that'll do it for now. Next video will be back to regular Girls and Panzer type stuff, at least for a bit. Hopefully without YouTube causing me any problems with stuff like video content ID claims, because that's been a nightmare the last few weeks. And I hopefully won't have to deal with that again. But I just want to do this as a little change of pace for the channel, just for one video, and obviously also to just show off the fun little challenge that I took on, and maybe suggest that you could try it as well if you're so inclined. So enough rambling. That's all for now. I'll see you guys next time.